So I just wasn't sure if Jude was going to join us, who's also in the team, and I'm just trying to check if he's got the right link, because we were going to do a Zoomy link as well, and I don't know. Let me just have a look.
He said he updated the information, so
He did on the the invite thing that we send out, that it's a mail thing, so it'll have different links, but I'm not sure. He must have, if he's updated it on that, then we must have it. But okay, I've not heard anything from him. Let me just open the WhatsApp thing. I have to tell you guys, I get very confused with technology. As Abe knows, I am a technology god. Yes, that's all you need to know. If I can manage to work it between bloody Zoom and Teams is the one that does my head in, but there you go. Right, I'm just going to see if I can find WhatsApp while we just do it, because then I can just check if Jude wants to be there or not.
Yeah, so we thought it's better to just continue the meeting.
Yeah, please.
Because otherwise we'll lose people.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Yeah. And I think that's one of the things. Well, I'm just checking out to see if Jude's on WhatsApp. So yeah, I've been excited about this one for a few weeks now, and we totally get the fact that there's quite a few of you, but you may not make all the sessions, and that's okay, as long as we've got, you know how this stuff works, as long as we have a critical mass, so that we move stuff forward. The recording is a brilliant idea, and if we can get access to that as well, that'd be fine. Let me just double check here. Right. Oh, what do we do? Right, okay. So I'm going to just check, and then we're done. Yeah. All right. Okay, that's that sent. Yeah. Right. So yeah. So why are we here? That's the first question. How long have we got is the second question. So have we got an hour or have we got 90 minutes? I can't remember.
It's up to you. I mean, up to 90 minutes, people know about it.
Perfect. We may not take that long this time, depends how much we get covered. The way we run this is we're looking at increasing your value. That's the context. Yeah. And sometimes when we do it, then people think that means, oh, just be a business. And sometimes they go, well, we're not just a business because we're about impact. And that's the space we work in. We work with organizations. Sometimes they're universities, sometimes they're colleges, the health service. Sometimes they're big banks. Sometimes they're little two people technology firms. What we do is scalable and it's contextual. So it doesn't matter what the content is. What that means in your space is, yeah, this isn't about being a business, not being a business, whatever. We can take you through whatever you need to get you to the next level of appreciating your value and your brilliance, and then realizing it, and then taking as much of that value out of it that you want to take and leave the rest. Yeah. So on the hardcore, not commercial value, that's where we're working with WADA to help them build a valuation model so that people like them and C4C and the other guys can get valued for all they do in what accountants call a non-tangible assets. Yeah. And that's one of the things for you guys. So that's really what the program's about. There's some simple things that we take people through, and it kicks them to their next level of growth. And sometimes growth is in terms of capacity, and sometimes it's in terms of revenue. With the stuff we do, though, often it's in terms of capability. So when we talk about growth, it isn't just, oh, get another Lambo, get another Lambo. Yeah, it's about how do you deepen what you guys deliver out to people. So that's the sort of background. What will be useful, we've got 90 minutes. Who knows anything about what the program's about? That would be useful to know, because that gives me a benchmark to know where to start the conversation.
I think probably, I don't know who actually started the conversation. All I have shared in Discord is the snapshot of the program. If anyone actually looked at that, I don't know.
I think we're pretty novice as a group. I
Yeah.
have some familiarity. You know, Rick and I have talked a little bit more. But yeah, I would start probably at the beginning.
That's brilliant. And for all the guys I haven't met before, including Christian, it's lovely to meet you properly. Yeah. And in case you don't know Fletcher, as you can see, Fletcher is a demigod and style guru. And he claims to run a stake pool, but I'm not sure. Yeah. We've never actually seen any stake pool activity from. Yeah. So Fletcher went through the first iteration of the first cohort that we did. So if I just give you a very tiny bit of background, and he can give you a bit more of his perspective. So yeah, in Fund 7, I've been talking to Jonathan Adji and to Norrie and Felix and a couple of others. And the issue there was, that was when the stake pool one came up, you know, the business as a stake pool thing. And our view was smaller stake pools, and in there particularly impact-driven ones as well, they need supporting because Cardano in particular is supposed to be built on them. And often what the stake pool owners are in a space of, they're not there necessarily to make a Lambo first off. And so the thing is, though, stake pools are a business. What you do may not be a business, but the stake pool you run is a business. And so therefore part of that was, like we said, how do we get the value understood and organized so that smaller stake pools can grow to the size they want to be, do what they want to do, and basically support whatever their cause is. So that was the proposal we put in for F7. And we got that funded, and we run the first cohort, and we had Swarm was on it, Sonata was on it with Norrie, Fletcher was on it, Jonathan was on it, Wada was on it with Goma, and we ran a little baby program. And I have to tell, like, as you can see, Fletcher had a full head of hair before he started the program. Yeah, we put him through the ringer, and basically Abe and his siblings body swerved that experience, because they came to spend time with you instead. So as you can see, he's still got hair. So he made a good choice.
Yeah, that's what we're all afraid of, Harry.
Yeah. Now, being serious, the whole point of this is life's supposed to be fun. Yeah. And you guys are very busy. Your time's very valuable. So we're boiling it down where you have choices about what you want to focus on, what you want to do. But one of the things in there was, again, how can we just support the impact focused entities? That's where we're coming from. Yeah. But it was a good point. So yeah, so we did F7. F8 then we put in for extensions. So this program was about taking what we'd done in F7 and basically taking the edges off of it and making it so it can be run really as an incubator or an accelerator, which is tiny firms or slightly bigger firms, to give them the support they need to get to the next level. And then there's a parallel one that's running, which is the train-the-trainer one. And that was really aimed at, when we do this stuff, we're coaches, so Edify is coaches and consultants. And as you guys know, consultants come in very male, push energy, look at things, come up with a model, and or take a model out of their bag, charge you a lot of money, and then bugger off. And I'm being a bit harsh, but I was a consultant in AT Kearney for a while, and that was my understanding. Coaching is slightly different. Coaching, then you assume it's female, much more feminine, not female, feminine energy. It's pull energy, and the assumption there is the brilliance is in your heads, and then it's the coach's job to help you frame stuff to get the brilliance out of your heads on bits of paper so you can decide about things. And then the second bit of that is the model is about embedding the brilliance, the knowledge, the frameworks into the organization. So in iteration 2 and 3, you guys have this capability to coach your next generation of guys. So that's the idea behind it, is it builds the capability within your organization to move that forward, either with other entities in your organization or even with other organizations. That's the sort of idea. Is that making sense so far?
Yeah.
That's most of the talky bit over. So the plan today, we've got some exercises to sort of run through. Would it serve you if Fletcher just told you about the cohort 1 and what he found on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that. Share a little bit now, and I imagine as we go along, some of the key pieces I would suggest up front. Sorry if you hear some talking in the background. Share a bit of an office space. So I think what stood out right from the get-go was a variety, our diversity of interests, understanding of what we were doing, goals and aims of what in our group, and I imagine that's going to be shared here. And one of the core values I think I'd put up front as our learning experience of going through this whole piece is some of us were being introduced to things we had never heard before in the language it was being introduced in, the framework for business or for modeling out each of these pieces to begin to explore our own values, our own purpose, the business purpose, transitioning between all these types of pieces. And I think we figured at first sometimes a little bit intimidated, but as we just sort of settled into the group environment, so I share this as a kind of an invitation to speed that process up, is the more we voiced, the more we discovered the depth of examples that Harry was able to provide. It helped us to connect the conceptual framework to day-to-day like examples of how this would fit into our own meaning and purpose with business, or with however you're framing out whatever kind of impact-driven framework or organization or just self-run piece. And some of us in the group had been entrepreneurs before. Very different framework, especially when we're talking about and covering something so comprehensive. So Harry's the model that he and his colleagues have worked with and developed over time and now presenting and sharing is really comprehensive. And yeah, I think that was the most valuable piece that we discovered in a general kind of broad sense, is the more we asked and engaged. And of course, obviously, Harry's not shy about it, asking him just to slow down and break that piece down again and again. Give me another example to really make this impactful and meaningful to me, because otherwise there were a few times where he'd ask, okay, so where's everybody at? We're swimming. Like it's all a bit of information. And so sometimes it's just new. But we started to discover how to make it land a lot faster. And I think that was a really meaningful discovery for the group discussion, and then leaning on each other in that process.
Fabulous. So have we got any questions so far?
I think we'll just have to digest it a little bit. I mean, it sounds like, do you want to know anything about us before we are starting, or how much do you understand about what we're doing so far already?
No, not really.
Okay. Right. So you don't want to...
This is the trouble with the clever people, isn't it? They always have clever questions, and then they expect you to answer the clever question you've just asked them. They give it back to you. It's outrageous. Yeah, that's a brilliant piece. Yes, that would be really helpful. How I'd framed it is we've got a couple of exercises we can do, and I can give you, did you get the link to the main board? That was the next bit, because I can chuck that into the, because I've been chopping things around, trying to make it easier again. And my Miro skills are not necessarily brilliant. And the guys that I have to do this, like with Tevo, he's off being busy somewhere else. So that's not been much help. But I can share you, I've got the main one. Like if I share the link again, because it may have moved. I know I shared it earlier, but it may have moved. If
Yeah,
I
we
put
got it in the chat as well, but
in the
if you can
chat,
post it
yeah.
in the chat here, then we can all open it up,
Yeah, that would be brilliant.
whatever the
And I can share the screen if you can't, but there's workshop stuff in there. So if we could, that would be lovely. So yeah, Christian, that was a brilliant question, because that's how this stuff starts. It's about understanding and starting off with some common ground. And usually when we do this, we won't go through it today, but usually there's 2 or 3 bits. There's sort of like a kit bag, which I think is on the board. And really, yeah, you're up there now. If you go up, I can probably do the bring you everybody to me bit, but I'll probably break it. So up on the left at the top is this impact growth engine. And that's really, there are 3 bits we usually do. One is to put together a full value audit of an organization. So it doesn't just include the commercials that everyone else usually talks about, but also, so not just the tangible ways of looking at value, but the intangible as well. And then the next bit in there is looking at today, which is about revenue or capabilities, and tomorrow, which is investing in assets. So that's the way we look at how to value an enterprise or an organization. The next one then is, okay, how can we use that as a little engine to spin out assets? Yeah. So you say,
can I slow you down just a minute, because maybe not everyone is familiar with a mirror board either.
Yes, please.
Is everyone able to see the mirror board? And have you found the impact, I guess the impact growth engine, which I think is on top of everything?
Yeah.
Page is still loading for me.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Just just get
I know
everyone
mine
loaded
could
up.
be slow.
People
When you get there,
flying
you may
around.
zoom out as well. Sometimes starts off a bit zoomed in, so it might look blank.
You need to zoom out to like 5% or something to actually find anything.
Yeah.
Are you getting there, Devin? Everyone else able to load it?
No, it's also still loading with 3
Yeah, I'm there.
color bars, animated color bars.
Okay, if you just zoom out, but okay.
Yeah. Now, do you want me to share screen?
Yeah, maybe you can actually. That might be easier.
that-
Don't have to wait.
Yeah, that just saves people having to trundle around everywhere.
Yes. Yeah.
So
It's on the bottom. Yeah.
there we go. Okay, can you see that?
Yes.
So look, this is the bit we're at. Yeah, see mine's running slow as well. So this is at the top, just on the left. We're not going to spend much time on it tonight, but basically it's just, those are the 3 areas we really have. So one was the auditing the organization, and that's a full value audit as opposed to a normal just commercial audit. The second one then was, how do we make, now we've audited it, how do we make that into an engine that we can pull the levers that we want to grow the organization, so grow the SBO. Then the last bit is the journey, and this was answering Christian's question. So the journey then is about just understanding, where are you now? Where do you want to go? What are the gaps? And so how are we going to fill the gaps to get there? And the most important thing usually is the sort of the way of the journey. So what leadership style are you going to take? So those are the 3 areas we usually look at. And the area we'll be spending a bit of time on tonight is really just about the journey. Yeah. So if that makes sense.
I don't know where you show auditing and stuff. It doesn't say it on the slide anywhere, does it?
That's okay. The audit one, look, is this one here, which has got the commercial and cultural. That's auditing. That's the dashboard that we use. Yeah, and we won't cover much of that tonight. We'll do that another time. There are presentations embedded in the board. So if I just show you, just so you've got a bit of an orientation. Let me move the chat out of the way. So look, if I zoom out, and this was the board I think I shared originally, but in there was just the thing at the top is just the information we put out about what we're going to do on the program. This top set of slides is just generally every session we have backup slides that explain what we're going to do in the session, and then we have the detailed slides of where are we on the program. Yeah, so if you're interested, then these slides will be there every week, but also because we may not do it in order, it depends. This is the problem, it depends on where you guys are. This is the program, so as you can see, it's got different color coding, and that relates back to the, it's up here actually, that relates to, this is the big version of the audit. Yeah, and the engine. So this is internal to your organization. This is your purpose. This one is your markets. And then this one is the external environment. And that's the color coding that's used on the program. So when we go through stuff, we'll generally go through, we'll do some work with you on purpose, some work on the business model, some work on the program, and then there'll be some work at an external level about politics, economic, social, technical, legal. And then we'll go through what's your customer proposition, product proposition, and your positioning in your market, your channel, and then your systems and your performance, and then a business plan. And the business plan is very basic, but the idea is it gives you a platform to focus on what you find important for your SPO and then for CNC, and then we can move forward with it. So that's sort of the program. And the way it works is over on the left-hand side is much more, that's where all the theory is. That's where the presentation slides are. And you guys know how to do this perhaps. But if you click on these ones, look, then there's presentations in there that you can look at. They've been loaded up. So if you're interested, please do. If you're not interested, don't worry. It's just, I know with, particularly with devs, and this is strategic devs, tech devs, organization devs, developers tend to want to know what's going on. So rather than just show you a piece every week or every session, what I've done here is I've just loaded up the lot. So pretty much everything is there. So if you want to look at anything, please feel free. However, you don't need to look at any of it. As Fletcher will tell you, it'll be there for you if and when we get to it. So, but that's why I put the whole program up, because it's easier for some of you guys to just see everything and then look at what you're interested in. How it runs across then, on the left-hand side, it's more about the theory stuff, and on the right-hand side, it ends up with a slide or two of information that you can put into a business plan. And the middle bit is the sandbox where we'll do the work. So it's project-based learning again. Is that helping so far?
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes
Now,
sense.
As Fletcher said, any questions, just ask them. The way we run a session usually is we'll start off with a module, and that will be a learning module where we'll go away. We've gone off into the distance. We've learned some things. We've made some stories out of them. We've come back to the campfire and we've done the pathfinding, and now we'll just tell people about what we found. So that's the structural piece. That's the space, the container. And then after and that's what we're sort of doing now a bit. After that, then we'll have an exercise, and this will be more specific for you. And then we'll review the exercise, and then we'll get some session feedback afterwards. And then we can make any amendments we do. Is it too fast, too slow, too much, not enough? And then we do the next module. So that's the sort of, that's the flow. Yeah.
okay.
So this was one we had to do for Swarm. So Swarm are doing the big accelerator version now with Swarm, not the SPO. We did the SPO first, and then they thought it'd be good to do it across the organization. And they're in a different space. Yeah. because they're very diverse and, they're very decentralized. So some of the rules have to be a bit tighter for them to make sure that they're being respectful. So that's really the structure for it. The rules we usually have in terms of values, we would say are open, honest, and fair. So open is full participation. So if you're here, participate in it, in all the stuff that's going on, and give feedback. Honest is speak your truth. And sometimes, as you guys know, speaking your truth means deciding not to say something, rather than being in a thinking space all the time. And fair is no judgment. This is about abundance, not scarcity. And in the scarcity thing, as you know, it's win-lose. In the abundance space for us, there's collaboration is win-win, and then integration is win-win-win, and generation is everybody wins. And our idea is to try and get it up to a generative state, but it at least starts off in collaboration. So we can, so what does that mean? Fair then is there's no judgment, no blame involved in, you did that, you were wrong, you were rubbish. There's just, we tried something. Did it achieve the objective or not? It didn't. Well, then change something. It did. Well, then build something. So you can assess things, but there's no need for the judgment. Now, that's apart from usually Friday afternoons, because Friday afternoon, everyone's a bit fed up of being very non-judgmental, and then you usually have a whiny afternoon. But this is a Monday night, so that's different, or Monday morning for you guys. So is that helping so far? Any questions?
Yeah, I think let's go through it. I mean, we are quite a group that is used to work together on projects, so I don't think you get a lot of, well, we whinge as well, yeah, for sure. But yeah, it should work out. I mean, and you have some experience in the blockchain, so I think from our point of view, it's always good to have some feedback from other blockchain related situations rather than a general how you run your business. But yeah, from my perspective, sounds good. Let's continue.
So what will be useful then is if I take us over. So look, when you can. So if you guys want to come up to this one at the top where Rick is, and that's the one that talks about the business audit. So I've popped this little baby one in there for us to have a look at. So on business audit, look, there's a little Miro board link. And if you click that, that should take us through to this baby board. And the baby board then is for you guys to have a look at and do what you were saying, Christian. Tell us about your organization and your stake pools. Yeah. So usually if we just do a general, a state of the nation, really, how long have you been going? What have you found? What are the challenges and what have been the amazing bits? And that will give us a bit of a base camp to look at how to move forward. Because often when you guys are small businesses and you're running an association or a grouping and you have a cause, then it can get quite interesting. So part of what we will probably go through will be, there are some things in there that we might be able to use and give and take you guys through so you can run your association as well as your organizations better. Yeah, that's what we usually find here. So are we on
Harry, so
yeah.
we each of us has a cursor that shows up to each other, is that right?
Yes.
Yes.
And you're saying you want us to click on that first dark slide to go through, or?
No, it's where we are. Look, is have you clicked on so that you're on to this CNC business audit board? Yeah, if I go back. So
you're not sharing your screen, by the way, Harry. You stopped sharing your screen.
Oh, sorry.
So
I
we
didn't
can't
mean to do
see.
that. Oh, let's try that again then. Maybe when I swap boards, it stops sharing. Okay. Sorry about that. So look, on this business audit one, there's a little Miro link there. And if you click on that, it takes you through to the next board. Yeah. So I've clicked through.
So slide moves very, very slowly.
Yeah, apologies. So on this one, what I was going to say was we're going to do 2 exercises tonight, really. This will be a first one, and then we're going to look at some purpose. So this one is around, if you're now onto this page, if you could just grab some post-its and just do, well, I suppose as many post-its as you'd like to, but really one post-it around, at least one post-it around what's gone well, one post-it around what your challenge is, and one post-it around learnings. If you want to do more than one, that's great. And these are the areas that, so we've got commercial operations is the day job. So that's you guys running your SPO, making money out of it. Yeah. The performance is the people side of that. So that's about training. It's about running the people that run your little organization. The commercial strategy, that's about building asset. So that's about, again, going out there and buying tin in your space, but buying the assets you need to run your operation. And the strategy side, the performance bit, is all about the people assets. So that's about communications, leadership, culture, knowledge management, talent management. So really, if you can just have a look and see if you were to choose 3 of those. So what's the biggest, where's the biggest challenge? Where's the biggest fantastic bit at the moment? So and also then perhaps what's your learning so far of working together? Now this one, we can do it at 2 levels. You can do it at your personal SPO level, or you can do it at the CNC level. I would say it's easier to start at the CNC level. So you guys have been working together, and in a minute you'll talk me through it. So you've been working together for a period of time. So what's gone really well? What's your challenges and what's your learning? And if you can plonk where your challenge is on the table, on the audit, and if you can put where what's gone really well, so you might say actually CNC, what's gone really well is we're actually minting blocks. So the commercial operations as well. You might say that actually we all get on really well as a team and we do loads of stuff together as a team. So your performance is good. You might say that actually you're building a lot of commercial strategy in terms of you're building commercial assets. Or you might say that actually you're codifying a lot of the things you do. So you're building intellectual property, for instance. That's a people asset. Branding.
So,
yeah.
Hang on a sec, Harry. So you've got color-coded Post-it notes.
Yeah, just grab some. I was just thinking that it would make it easy for you to differentiate yourselves if you wanted. I didn't know how many people would have. The colors don't really matter.
Okay, so the color coding is not important. You're wanting us to drag Post-it notes for things that were difficult or things that succeed, which?
That's it, both. One thing that's difficult, one thing that's succeeding, and one learning. So you can type in the Post-its. You don't have to leave there. I've just put the markers in there so you can use them.
So how do we differentiate which is a difficulty and which is a success?
I would do it just by saying what it was. So if you were doing like teamwork, yeah, if teamwork's good, then I would just take teamwork good, and that goes up here, or that goes in there. Yeah.
Okay, so what, you right click on, hold down on it or something to type
That's
into
it.
it?
Yeah.
Or what?
If you just left click on the post-it,
Left click on the post-it and hold down to type
that's
it.
it, or double click, and then you can do the text.
Okay. Got to get some basic lay of the land here.
No, I understand totally.
Yeah, kind of like activating a text box inside of another software program. You'll click on the number or the character, and then should give you a cursor. Maybe it takes 1 or 2 clicks, depending on where in the box you might click. It'll allow you to type and edit it.
And that's why we're sort of going to the extremes, you know, what's gone really well, and then what's the biggest challenge. And that will just give us a little map to start to understand where you guys are. And again, I didn't know whether we should split it into, you know, into teams or have breakout rooms or whatever. But I think with the amount of people we've got, it's probably okay, isn't it? It's probably not too large. Now, again, if I was like those wonderful guys at Little Fish, there'd be some interesting music going on at the moment. And the only alternative we've got there is for Fletcher to hum for us. How are we doing? How is our post-it note wrangling going?
Filling up nicely there.
Fabulous.
Can you repeat the 3 categories again?
Yeah, it was just we're just stretching the envelope and then doing a bit of learning. So, you know, what's gone really well, and you can do more than one. It's just one is a minimum really to get a sort of a population size. So what's gone really well? What's the biggest challenge of for CNC? And then what's the key learning? So something that you guys have gone, yeah, okay, I've learned this. And again, it's front of mind. you know how your brain works in this space. You've got a brain stem, and then you've got amygdala, which is your feeling center, an editor, and then you've got your prefrontal cortex or your neocortex or whatever you want to call it. And that's where your thinking bit is. And the idea here is to do it quick so that you stay out of the editor bit. You try and stay out of the bit that squashes your feelings on stuff. Yeah. Are we getting there? Good enough to go through?
Done.
Yeah, we got some stuff.
Yeah. So if you just wanted, if that's good, if everyone's sort of there, if you just want to take it in turns and just talk us through what you've put up, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I'll go first.
You go first, David.
So I've got scaling. I did the orange post-it notes. Looks like I'm the only one with orange so far on the board. Scaling is a challenge. You know, obviously one of the missions of this alliance is to try to attract as many pools as possible so that we minimize the overall use of energy on the blockchain. And I think one of the things we've discovered is that through all of our exercises, and especially through this ISPO, that's tough. Even with a compelling story, it's tough to scale meaningfully. I also put up success for performance of operations, the day-to-day items of running our pools and communicating together well as an alliance, I think have gone very well. And under vision, I think that's still vague in the sense that trying to identify where is the very best, most effective place we should be placing our cumulative energies.
Okay. Fabulous. Thank you for that. Who's next?
I'll go next. So for learning, I have the time it's needed to organize a group like this and an ISPO.
And you've done a grand job.
Well, I'm not even here long, so the other guys have been doing this a lot longer. But it's been interesting to see how much time and effort actually goes into it to organize. So that's a good learning for me. The difficult part, I think most of us agree on, is increasing the impact and the awareness of the project and the results as well. And let's see, what was my third? Yeah, so starting and organizing the ISPO, in my opinion, as far as I can tell, went really well, and locating a worthy and trustworthy NGO is also quite difficult, I think. So hats off to that, to the team. I think that's about it for me.
Fantastic.
Maybe me, I have not much because I'm also not just a few days in the group. First thing what I thought was when I joined or followed you guys the last few months is a bit visibility. it's just not getting seen enough as a project, which is what I think.
Cool. Yeah. Is that it, John?
Yeah, that's all.
All right. Cool. Yeah. So I'll add to that. So I had successfully launched our ISPO, so it took a long time, but nonetheless, we did a good job and we did manage to launch the ISPO, which is positive. But from that, disappointingly, we didn't get as much traction or as much delegation that we hoped for, in essence, to support our NGO, which is important to us. So something that we're not sure, or from my perspective, I'm not sure what are we doing wrong. We've got a really good course, we're doing a good job, we're putting out reasonably good marketing material, I think, to a certain degree. But it's not having the impact that we're looking for, which sort of ties into another post that I had is also within the organization is only a small amount of participants that are contributing. So there might be 25 pools, but a minority out of the 25 are really doing anything that is contributing to the project. So something that we would like to see there improve in terms of maybe Discord memberships and activity. So it's not just the pools, but the larger community that is participating in what we're doing. And what else was there? Yeah. So those are the key things. I think we've got a good idea or a good values in terms of what we're fighting for, but having people outside the community see those values and see the value in those things that we're attacking is I can't see where's the missing link or where's the break happening from my side.
Okay, fabulous.
Greed, Rick. Greed is the part.
That's probably it, isn't it? Yeah. So true.
What else we got?
For me, I added in here, attracting delegators, a weakness, like what has been said, getting the visibility and everything. I think we're learning and getting better at coordinating with some of our partners as they come on board, and people like Noom and Anvil. We do a pretty good job there, but I also know we've been so focused on the inner workings of the ISPO for a long time that we haven't had to coordinate externally out that much. I think one thing we do pretty well is there's generally an openness to ideas. I don't think people are usually shut down or not listened to. I think we do a good job of getting ample input from all the involved parties and trying to stay pretty collaborative and that there's not any sort of clique calling all the shots or leadership group that is telling everybody what's good and bad.
Okay, fantastic. And who else we got?
Well, I can make a few points. Right. So I think a lot of the important points have already been made, but I wrote up here the white paper, initial strategy. That was quite good for me and for everyone else to write sort of up what we wanted to do and put everything into one place. It was basically not a strategy that is very adaptable, but was an idea in terms of how we move forward, and an idea that based on what we are offering, we would then succeed to scale our pools. And by scaling, I mean attracting delegators to our stake pools, which was the number one or number two goal. So we basically are probably struck with two visions or two goals is that we want to combine. Is one is to come together and help the small pools or generally the pools to attract new delegators, which then in itself helps us to donate more money to the project that we are supporting. And we came together to support one specific project, whereas before most of our pools, which basically are all mission-driven pools, we're supporting different charities or different projects. And so this is the first time that we actually try to get a decentralized community together to focus on one goal. We have successfully done that by launching the ISPO. And I think we have driven it quite far. As Rick already mentioned, we do, I think, quite good communication, but we don't seem to reach enough people, or we are not reaching, or people are not willing to just move their assets, because I think people maybe one of the big challenges is possibly here the bear market, which I haven't really put in there as a challenge. It's not something we can affect anyway until it's over. But so the strategy is good. I have put here weekly meetings are good. So the Monday meetings have been a bit of a cornerstone to be developed, and we have managed to keep it going and growing a little bit with getting people in, hopefully learning something each time. And in terms of the impact on the ground, I mean, we are doing okay. We have donated more than 50,000 ADA so far. But in terms of performance, up here on the top is we are not really close to the target that we set ourselves initially. When we wrote the white paper, I mean, the target or the business strategy for our NGO that we are supporting, we wanted to achieve a $300,000 target, which seemed feasible at the time when we had a higher ADA value. But now we are quite far off of that.
That's more because of the bear market. If we were still dollars in ADA, we'd be at $200,000 right now. So
yeah, exactly. So that's obviously a big impact on what we can achieve, but maybe not so much we have an impact on. But yeah, clearly the biggest challenge at the moment from an ISPO perspective, because everyone probably expects or initially expected from the Sandy Swap ISPO, or some of the early ISPOs, which is basically at the same time when we started working on this ISPO, or we worked on it, was that we get a lot of delegators when we announce an ISPO. And we offer, in this case, we are offering special tokens, which we had to design, which we successfully designed, and they're quite pretty. We thought through utility of the tokens, and we are having, four partner organizations that provide us NFTs for that. And we thought about, what else could we do with the tokens, like voting, for example, but that's currently not really worked out. So I think from having a last word, I think at the moment we are still a little bit in a limbo and trying to figuring out how we can move forward and utilize the brand that we probably successfully have, that people know us for, but actually make it successful in a sense that we actually can get some delegation to the SPOs. So when people join us, they are sort of having some benefit out of it, not just paying donations, which currently is what we're doing. I mean, obviously there's a benefit that we all feel good about donating. But yeah, if that doesn't attract any delegators, then it is probably not a long-term strategy to survive on, or attract other pools to join us. So there's lots of things like that, which I have put in there, but I tend to talk a lot. That's a challenge as well. So I should stop here.
That's okay. And who else have we got? Who's not spoken yet?
Yeah, well, I can pick this one up. think the biggest challenge is probably like a couple of people said is the visibility of it, to get it out in front of people to draw in the delegation. The biggest lesson learned is probably for me is just to see how much actually goes into it to make it happen, and the amount of people involved and the amount of roles that people are taking on. And then the best part is probably the fact that we are actually making a positive impact. I think we'd all want it to be bigger, but it is happening, and what we're doing is working to the extent.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. And who else have we got?
I just put one comment as I saw like most of the important things that has been mentioned already. But I think one of the biggest challenges is the fact that delegators, and I would also dare to say Cardano Foundation, doesn't really care about the environment. So this is a major drawback, because despite of all of our efforts and great work, we haven't gotten the attention that we deserve, not just only by the community, but also by the Cardano Foundation and let's say like the main authorities within the ecosystem. And I think this is something that we should be also conscious of in order to address a different approach or strategy to solve this.
Brilliant. Thank you for that, Vito. And who hasn't gone yet? Now, have we had Le Petit Ada yet? And the other thing I'd say, guys, when we're doing this, there's not so many of us. So if you want to just leave your mics on rather than muting all the time, then that's cool.
Hi, guys. Do you hear me?
Yes. Is that Carolina? How'd you do?
Yes. Hi. I'm actually with my phone, so I'm having problems with the sheet, but I'm seeing it with my phone, so I couldn't write something, but I have the same feeling as Vito. We should try to bring more awareness to the project by using the leverage of these big persons in the community, like the Cardano Foundation or these big entities. And even though we have tried to talk to them, they don't give us like the proper awareness, or they don't support enough our project, even though we are doing something for them too, for the whole community. So yeah, I think that's one of the biggest issues.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. Is that everybody? Yes? No, yes,
So,
no,
yeah.
yes, no?
Yeah.
So Fletcher, how long have you got? Are you still around for a bit, or are you having to dive off?
I've got about 10 more minutes.
Fantastic. Right, let's make most of use of you. So what's your feeling about what the guys have said so far then? What sort of conclusions would you bring out of that? And this is your sort of gut level knowing or feeling.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the things that strikes me immediately is that there is obviously good communication. There's a lot of shared understanding of where your barriers are, the facilitators, the things that have gone well, and that it's not like, you know, one person has that there's very disparate perspectives, that there's really a shared kind of perspective. That's one of the things that immediately stand out to me. Some of the areas in, you know, the strategy, it seemed like that was an area of learning, kind of commonality, and the shared desire to learn or strengthen is in the commercial strategy. The performance side, again, the human element, the communications things seem really, seem more well intact. Those are kind of my initial observations is around those pieces, because you've brought some things from strategy to operation, and then you've done some self-assessment, noticing where those operations have not quite resulted in the outcomes that you're set or we're looking for. And so my initial observations.
Fabulous, thank you. Right then, guys, we've got a little bit of time left, and we usually have 5 minutes at the end to wrap things up, but we've got Fletcher for another few minutes. So if we got a choice, we can either do some exercise around purpose, or we can do some exercise, because this one's, we're going to work on this. So we just park that one for now. That gives me a good understanding where we are, like Fletcher said. And then also, this is about shared stuff. Yeah, it doesn't matter what I think, really, and it doesn't matter what Fletcher thinks. It's more about getting a shared awareness. So we're just putting things into the pot to let them boil around a bit, and then we can pull them out and look at them. So this is iterative. And I know some of you guys are scientists and sit in that space, and that's cool. And this is the bit we're doing. We're just in ideation at the moment. Yeah. And things will emerge, if that's okay. So any more comments on this bit, or shall we move on?
Move on.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could so far, yeah. I mean, we can talk a long time about many things there, but I think for now we've got a sort of core concerns captured there.
And that's brilliant, because that's one of the things we will do with a group like this, will be to start to take you through some exercises where you can manage your meetings in terms of content and context, and whether you're in a thinky, feely or know-y space. But we'll do that next time. So this one, look, if you go, you're on your board. If you go to the big Miro board thing again, there's another little button there in the corner, yeah? And if you click on that, it should take us back to where we were. There we are. And now, see, you'd understand the amount of effort that took me to put that button in there. See, Fletcher's laughing because he knows.
Where's the button?
Yeah, Fletcher understands this. He understands my technical competence.
Well,
So now, look, we're going to go down to the next one. You see where the arrow is on purpose?
How do we get back?
Yeah, are you all back?
No, I'm not back. That button didn't work. Where's the button again?
Above the where we were all just working on that kind of initial thoughts piece, in the upper right hand corner, there's a small Miro symbol. Yeah, it looks like everybody's hovering over that right now.
I got it.
That'll launch you back to the other board.
That's it.
I will unshare, and then maybe if you want to share rather than me trying to follow what you say, Harry.
Yeah, sure. So, okay. I'm just going to make sure I'm on the right one. Here we go. Okay. I liked it when you were sharing though, Chris. That was good. Because that meant I could still see people. Okay, so can you see, are we all back on the main board?
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody?
Yeah.
Yep. And and Caroline will be able to see it. So if we go down where it says purpose, so the next row below where we were, there's the purpose one, and it's the same idea. There's a button there, click on that button, and that should take us to the purpose board. Yeah. Okay, is everyone through?
No.
It's very slow. It's jumping quite a bit.
So, have we got everybody now?
No.
I'm there.
The share screen that you're showing is so small
Oh, I'm sorry.
that I can't see where you are to
Right.
follow.
Oh, yeah, I can show you that it's a very small board. And we're going to do this bit where there's the table, and then it's got a red sticky above it. Yeah. That's what we're going to do now.
So
That one, yeah, with purpose. I think I saw somebody disappear into the business model one.
Yeah.
I'm in the business
But
model.
if you went into the business model, if you do the same thing,
Right above it.
there'll be one of these on the business model one, and then you just click that little one, and it'll take you back to the main board again. Yeah,
So those are your portals.
that's it. And
You'll
it's the
al-
purpose one we should be on, guys.
You'll
Yeah.
also notice it opens up many tabs when you go back and forth between the pages. So you might want to close some of the tabs down to save one space or.
Okay.
Well, I'm using the other tabs also, so I don't have to click always to join or to leave. So I have
And
the
that's
three
fine
open.
if you use the tabs. So if you can all click through purpose, because we're going to go to the purpose board. Yeah, so I can still see a few of you on that you haven't clicked through yet. Yeah, or is that
They
just...
may have traveled through, but then it leaves the cursor there.
Yeah, that's cool. So here we go then, guys. So I'm still sharing. I'll stop sharing in a minute. But again, if you come down to the right from that one, what's your personal purpose? So what's your personal driver is the one we're going to do. And on here, look. So this is what are you about? And this is a bit of fun. Yeah. So we put this one together because when I asked all these questions the first time around, Norrie, for instance, and I said, well, what do you really want then, Norrie? He goes, I want a Lambo. Yeah. And then it's like, well, what do you want next? Well, I want another Lambo. And then I want a Tesla truck. Yeah, that was Norrie, which I was a bit surprised at, I have to tell you.
It's true,
Yeah.
Wouldn't expect that from Rory.
Nori in a Lambo, that's nice.
You would have
So
thought you
look,
would have
this
said
is a bit
something
of
about
fun.
nature.
Yeah, so this is a bit of fun. So this table, look, what we've got on the way down, it says, I want, because this is about your personal driver. Why are you bothering? Next time, we're going to go to the right a bit and we're going to look at what's your purpose. And so what's your cause, your personal purpose, your SBO's purpose and CNC's purpose. But for today, we're going to have a bit of fun with this one. This is very light-hearted, as you may have guessed, yeah? But it's the same idea. There are stickies down below. Yeah, so just choose one of the SBOs. And if you can click on one, and then you can double click on it and put your name in. And then what it's got, look, so we're going to do the top three. So what do you really want? Do you want a Lambo first? Or do you want kudos? So you want kudo. So do you want a Lambo or do you want kudo? Or do you want Rambo, which is power? And I've, bizarrely enough, I've met some people in Catalyst that seem to be on the power trip, which I was surprised at, to be fair. Or do you want community? You want to be in a community. So you want to be a Relo, that's a bit Australian. Or do you want to be Gnosis? Yeah. Do you want to be learning? You want to be a Noso? Or do you want to be an Edbo, where you're teaching? Or a Socco, where it's about the society level. You want to support society, be in society. Or do you want to be a Plano, which is your planet level stuff? Yeah. And you just very quickly just go down below. Look, there's the 1, 2, 3s. Put your preferences in, your top preferences in. So each of you do a 1, 2, 3. So choose a column. And then pop your doodles in there. And again, this table, I've been a bit rubbish. I should have, you can lock it, which oh, here we go. Let me try. All right, so that should be the table locked. Oh, what's going on? What's Ricardo up to? Is he copying it? Ah, okay.
I've copied and pasted him so everyone's got some to pick from, not moving them around. I don't know if I did it wrong.
No, there's no wrong, mate. Yeah. As long as we've got something to talk about, we'll be cool.
Yeah, I saw that clever way. You done it.
So are you
What
saying
is
it
it?
has to be one of those options? That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. That's the whole point about this sort of thing. You can't mess about. You need a 3 preferences. 1, 2, and 3.
I messed about a bit.
What means the last one again? Gaia?
Oh, it's mainly about Gaia. It's a planet level stuff. So you know the stuff, don't you? Is it about the planet? Is it about society? Is it about your community? Is it about your organization? Is it about your team? Is it about you? But the personal ones are around. Some people why they're in Cardano and stuff like that, because they just love learning. Yeah, and that's one of my big ones. Some people is because they love teaching. And like I say, some people it's because they want kudos, which obviously Cardano is included because you get a kudos meter. Yeah. And then, like we say, for Norrie and Fletcher, strange though it was a Lambo's.
Nobody said Lambo.
I got Lambo there. But in the form of a permaculture farm. So it's not actual Lambo, but it's slightly different. It costs the same as a Lambo.
Oh, who's Shift? I just see I have the same ones like you. Looks like I'm copying it.
There's a few copycats.
It may look that way on the surface, but then or talk about it.
And what directly means power again?
The lack
Can you
of
just
better
explain?
choices.
Oh,
Yeah, the Rambo is why you're doing it, because you want to be a traffic warden.
Yeah, I like Rambo.
Yeah.
What
You
means
want to
traffic
be
warden
you want to
again?
be the guy that tells you what to do.
Rambo's cool.
Tells
Oh,
other
no.
people what to do. They want to be in power.
Rambo.
So
Devin, you have to use these ready-made ones. You can't just make up your own.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Devin.
where are the
Yeah,
ready-made ones?
Still
Come on,
learning.
Devin.
One on the left, the yellow
Yeah.
ones.
On the left, Devin.
So there are two random ways that you're filling this in at the moment. Yeah. The one that we thought you'd do was you have your 3, 1, 2, 3, and you put 1 on what you want most. So those are rows. Look, the Lambo's a row, the
Right,
Kudo's
so-
a row. Yeah.
Got
And so
it.
you put 1, 2, 3 there, and some people have done. Or the other way is like you said, if you want to copy the squidgy, copy the post-it and just put 1, 2, 3 running down. Yeah, like Arcada. It's done. Yeah, like Rick's already done. Doesn't matter as long as we know what's going on. See, I don't mind because this is all part of my experience of dealing with decentralized organizations.
Everyone's different, isn't it?
So you have Lambo money, Kudo reputation, Rambo power,
Yep.
Relo community. What's Relo community?
Relatives, relations, relationships. Now you see, now you're just being mean. Yeah.
And
What you're telling me is that after Rambo, it all goes a bit sad. And the words don't work as well, but I was trying my best.
Right.
What's
Yeah,
Nosso?
I mean,
No,
Yeah,
sorry.
missed that bit.
Knowledge, learning.
That's it. Yes. So Gnosis is learning, isn't it? So I was trying to do Nobo, and then Edbo's very sad, but that's education. So do you like
Sorry,
to teach
Harry,
people?
it's not
or
very
le-
funny.
I know it's not funny. It's rubbish, but it's the best I could do. You're not making this a safe environment for me. I have to.
Christian, do you want to use my row? Yeah. Or what?
Sorry, John, I messed it up. I messed it up a little
No
bit.
problem.
To change the strategy.
Are we there yet?
Something is missing. What was under society? Gaia, right? Yeah.
Oh, someone's lost it. Yeah, somebody's moved that basically, haven't
Yeah,
they?
that was Devin moved it on.
How do you copy? Option?
Just
Alt.
right click.
hold on.
Yeah, don't. That's it. Look, just do that. That's the extent of my mirror board skills, but they're pretty awesome. Are we done yet?
Nah, sorry.
This is supposed to take like a minute. This is like 2 minutes. Fletcher, this is what happens, mate.
This is so much fun. I've actually overstayed myself.
I know you have. I'm very impressed.
myself, but this has been a delight actually to get to know everybody and look forward to getting to know each other more. I'll see you on the next one.
It just puts our speed in perspective, doesn't it? I mean, we're always
you,
saying it
Fletcher.
takes a long time, but maybe it's just because we are slightly unskilled and slow.
Or
Well, I have to
overthinking it.
ask you, Fletcher, was the major takeaway from the last workshop that you did that you now got your screen with a nice signage, moving signage, eye-catching, contrasting background,
No, that's been there a while.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like we were saying, he is in Avengers, right? He is actually
Good
up in
marketing.
space.
That's right.
All right. You take care, Fletcher. Thank you very much.
All as well.
Thank
And
you, Fletcher.
we'll have a chat in the week if that's okay.
Are you back next Monday, Fletcher? Yeah. Okay. Cool.
It's his lunchtime. This is the thing that blows me away. It's Fletcher's lunchtime.
All right.
Back to the day job.
Yeah. Where are you
Adios.
based? Sorry, Fletcher.
West Coast, USA.
Okay, right. And Harry, you're in the UK, aren't you?
Yeah, just outside Cambridge.
Okay.
So what have we found out then, guys? What have we learned so far? Talk us through your numbers. Is everybody the same, or is everybody now making themselves the same? And you can't put it on the line, whoever did that. John,
I am. Why
get it
not?
off the line.
In the
That's
casino,
whole
you can
point
do
about a
that.
box. You can't have it on the line of the box. It's got to be in the container. Stop being a wimp.
Start being a German and just follow the rules.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought the Germans doing it always. Okay, wait. What is it? Teaching and learning is for me the same. That's the reason I'm done that.
Yeah.
Because when I teach, you also learn.
Well, this is true, but not everybody, though, do they? Not everybody wants to do that. They just want to teach people and tell them what to do. They don't necessarily want to learn anything. But you're
Okay,
quite
I'm
right.
moving it.
Yeah, but you're quite right. I like the learning and teaching are two important ones for me. And I feel less comfortable with teaching because that's more pushy, but I definitely like learning. And what you said, I definitely, when I'm going through and educating, I definitely learn all the time, huge amounts, which makes me very happy.
Mm-hmm. It's a good
Right,
point.
and guys, that's enough. So let's talk through it. So who has actually put Lambo?
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing wrong with wanting a Lambo. This is the whole point about this. This is no judgment. Yeah. So in our world, when we look at this stuff, we have people, planet, performance, purpose, and profit. If you want to be a billionaire, that's fine, as long as you don't screw someone else to get there. As long as you're not screwing the planet, the community. Yeah, if you want to make $1 billion out of something and that's your level of brilliance that you've applied, fabulous. This is just the non-judgment stuff. Doesn't mean you have to use that as a value, but that's where we come from. The main one, though, is that if you have profit in your space, well, we'd say these days you probably should have profit in there somewhere. It's about retained income, at least. The idea is, is that you're not screwing other people to get there. It's not competitive, it's collaborative. So come on then, guys, what's the learnings out of this? What have you learned about those people who you thought were your friends?
That's
Let's
why
have
we're
a
doing
tally
it,
up.
right?
Let's have a tally up. There must be like a score somewhere where we can.
Yeah,
put
there was on the end. It says totals.
I think Rick's not my friend anymore now.
Listen, my Lambo takes the form of a
You should
pivot.
have really. I mean, it shouldn't be a Lambo. It should be a Tesla.
It's all in the good cause, yeah, but there was a lack of better choice. Eh?
They don't make electric Lambos yet, do they?
Yeah,
I'm still moving it around because I'm not sure.
Well, the Tesla's faster.
How do you guys feel about that? How do you feel about Elon?
He's a good guy, in my opinion. I like
Yeah,
him.
good guy.
Yeah,
I like him as well.
even though he wants his people to work 300 hours a week.
Well,
Comes with the
you know,
territory, yeah.
that's
He
what
was
does.
a good guy until he turned into a right-wing nut and wants to destroy the planet now.
No.
Yeah.
It's
Doesn't want to
interesting,
destroy
isn't
the
it?
planet. What are you saying?
Well, he's become very right-wing conservative politically, and the right-wing political faction in my country is extremely anti-science, anti-education, anti-climate change. And Elon is now reinstating people like Donald Trump that are climate deniers onto Twitter, re-empowering them, and generally taking the earth away from the direction that he started, which was to propel mass adoption of EVs.
Yeah. I always thought
It's about
Donald was okay, though, wasn't he? is Donald not okay? I mean, he's a bit pink. I'm looking pink on this
entertaining.
camera. I could be Donald on this camera, couldn't I? If I didn't have the. I'm looking a bit orange.
Guys, should I stop recording now?
No, just carry. This is the time we need to be recording, Christian. A bit like, you know, when you've got your son or daughter and they get married or they reach 18 and you show them the embarrassing videos.
Yeah, it won't be too embarrassing. I think we know what we think.
Yeah. So what have we got?
do personally,
Who's from the
defend-
Euro pool? The same like me. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. So what did we learn then? So
Right?
what's our conclusions from this? What, when you're the data guys, when you look at this as a data set, what sort of you think, yeah, I get it, that's cool. And anything that stands out where you think, ooh, that's a bit weird.
The one thing is everyone's got
Go
sort
on.
of their own objectives individually. And one might ask, does that serve the collective well? Does it matter that everyone has a different opinion, which is fine, which they will have anyway? That's the nature of decentralized organization. It's just making sure that they do work towards the collective and still serve the collective in the same way. If there are some things that are drastically against what the collective is trying to achieve, then that should be flagged 100%. At the moment, the options weren't that drastic. Some people might join the collective for the wrong reasons, therefore not participate in what we're trying to achieve, and therefore you have the lack of participation that we see in some of the pools. So that's something that you can learn and take from that. From what we have here in the group are generally the people that are putting in the effort towards the collective anyway. So you've got sort of the better bunch out of us. And if we were to take this to the larger group, you might get some more different opinions and feedback on the options, and if you had a longer list as well.
Yeah, that's perfect, Mick. So you see, this is how you start to understand who people are, even if they don't have their camera on, is that after trashing my immaculately put together table that took hours, then you sum it up brilliantly, because that's what it's all about. Because sometimes people have a problem with this thing about alignment. And I've had this in that decentralized space before. It's like, well, why do we all have to be aligned? We don't all have to be aligned. Alignment is coherence. Yeah. So again, if you can see me, if I'm saying to you, well, basically, I'm a brilliant coach and the stuff I'm looking for is really good and my causes are fantastic and you should just pay me all the money. Yeah. Am I being coherent? Is what I'm telling you and my other bandwidths, you know, the other channels, my body language, is it matching what I'm telling you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. It's not. So I'm not coherent. And alignment just means, a bit like, you know, they do it with the flow stuff, with the Navy SEALs and all. They always have the big, you know, there's lots of versions of it. What happens is we live in a VUCA world now, don't we? We live in a world that's volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Now, that means things are particularly not complicated. They're complex, so they move around a lot. So if you've got a team, the more you know about your team, the more you understand how they all operate under pressure, the more you understand what their core drivers are. You don't have to agree with their priorities, but like you were saying, Rick, as long as you're in the room, as long as you're in the same room to start off with. Yeah, in the UK, we have that horrible tent example for politicians. You know, while you're in the big tent, so you have a big cause that you're sort of aligned to, and as long as that works, then yeah, some of you may want one thing different to another. But if you then under pressure, then if you know how you're going to behave, that's alignment. Because what that means is when anyone from the outside, for instance, comes to talk to you, you've got the same message. You've got the same 3-4 core things that it's all about. You don't all have to have them in the same order, but they have to be a center of gravity, which you guys have got. And when we move forward with it, the more you can explain those in 1 word, 2 words, 3 words, the more cut through you have, and the more people who feel like you and know like you will come to you.
I
Yeah.
think in general, have the option here, lumber or money, is distract a little bit, because we all want that, because it would also gives us the possibility
Is that
to
true?
do. Yeah, that's what I think, because
Yeah,
everybody wants.
I would say that's not true, John.
No, well, the thing is,
in my
I
humble
would.
opinion, in my
Sorry.
experience, sorry, I was going to say, when I've dealt with a lot of people, often in this impact space, money's evil. Money's a bad thing.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
just
that's
give me
all
two-
I'd say.
two sentence more. The thing is, this is what I say. I would have no problem to be a billionaire or millionaire, because I know I wouldn't change anything in life, except I could make more impact.
Yeah.
It's the only reason.
Yeah.
That's why I think having money back it shows us less now, as if we wouldn't have it there, because we would see the third option of the other topics. I may not explain it right, but
No, you're brilliant. It's better than my German.
I think it's good to have it there, just purely because I think you can also think about money as from, if you think in a capitalist society, if you think about that, you want to make the money because we think we can then do good with that, but you could also, that sort of exclude the option that you kind of share money in the socialist kind of way, and produce value through more of a team effort. So you may, if you go for the Lambo, it's more like the trickle down economy, which I can tell you scientifically is proven not to work. But for some reason, libertarians are still, and all our governments are treasuring and mentioning this is how we're doing it, because all the economists are working on that kind of framework, at least the ones in charge at the moment. So I think it's good to have it. And honestly, I didn't put it in because I've given up on getting wealthy with Cardano. But I do think working in the community has much bigger impact, but I'd probably still like a bit more money if I can. So, but it's not why I came into Cardano.
Yeah. So you follow Alex Becker then, yeah? With Cardano the Cardano ham eaters, yeah. So this is what this is about. This is just some frameworks to start some discussions. I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
I can give you my humble opinion on some stuff. And one of my humble opinions is what you guys have said. We live in a capitalist system in the West and in China and Russia these days. We live in a market economy, and that means there's some things there that are capitalist, and that means it runs on markets. And forget the politics about whether you're a neolibertarian or not. Either way, it's all about the money at one level, isn't it? And that was one of my big learnings when I was, the reason I'm not a billionaire is money wasn't that important to me. Income was nice, to have a house and a car, and that was nice at some stage, but having money wasn't that important. And that's one of my learnings, is the people who have, in my world, affected more impact, which is this change over time, which we'll do another time. That's what they've done. They've actually gone and got the big fund, the pipe of money, and then they've perhaps used it in a good way, or what you might say good or bad. They've used it in a way that has progressed the sort of objectives that I would agree with. Let's do that, because we're trying not to do the value bit about good and bad. And that's one of the things for you guys. For next time, because we've got 5 minutes, if you guys got another 5 minutes, we can just do a key learnings. But one of the next things is for next time is you guys starting to scope it out. And I know Abe's in this space. We'll cover it properly. But yeah, so what is a stake pool? That's one of the questions. What business model does a stake pool run to? And it is a business where there's some other people where their stake pool supports them to do good, and the good bit is not a business. It's what we'd frame as a social impact organization. So that means there's a bit of it can make some profit, and there's a bit of it that's funded that can retain some income. Yeah, and this is, won't go too far that way, but in our world, right, the only reason you have a social enterprise is because that's how the government tax you. Yeah, a charity, they tax one way. A social enterprise, which is a charity that makes money, that's what they tax another way. That's the buckets they put it into. But you don't have to deliver those buckets. We don't have to agree with those terms. So a social impact organization is an organization that wants to generate impact. And sometimes it does it in a commercial space, and sometimes it does it in a non-commercial space. And that for me is the then tied to your question around, so what is an SPO then? What industry does it live in? And what is it at its core? And that's really for you guys to trundle around with. I'm sure you've got answers for next time. I'll put, if that's okay, I can put some, we've got the recording. If we can get that posted somewhere, that'd be brilliant. If you've got some questions and feedback, if maybe Stephen, if we can get a channel opened up in the Discord, so we can put feedback in there, that'd be really useful, because feedback will be useful. And then the last bit today, I have to tell you, right, given we have a megastaff lecture, I was watching Chris Upstream's video and I was absolutely blown away. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's just that side of it, how you're operating that, it's cool, but there's stuff in there about who your audience is at different levels. But I have to say, Chris, I thought your videos were brilliant. Yeah.
Cheers.
You're a natural.
I would love to take the credit for that, but that would be mostly Dave on our side. We've got quite a big team of guys, and we've all got very different skill sets. Yeah,
perfect.
They've set out to do that. So.
Yeah, but it was excellent. So that was my feedback. So key learnings then. So we've done the session. What stood out where you've gone, oh, that was interesting, or aha? And it can just be nothing. There may be nothing that stood out or was a key learning. And then the key learning might be, well, that was a bit mediocre.
I think for the people that are here, we're quite aligned on the first exercise and on the second one as well. Actually, on both, it seems we're quite aligned, which is a good thing, I guess.
Is it interesting to anybody that none of us put reputation or power as a personal driver, and visibility is our agreed upon biggest weakness? Is there an interplay there?
Apart from Rick.
Yeah,
he wanted Rambo, he wanted power.
No, I just want community as the Lambo I wanted.
It's actually very telling.
I like Rambo, but I'm cool with no power.
That's a good observation you made, Abe, because, for example, artists, generally the artists who become very, very famous are ones that have gigantic egos. And, you know, when you are driven by ego, you typically are more successful at building reputation and fame. And, you know, many artists don't strive for that because they're focused on, you know, other things, heartfelt things, and their integrity over networking and greed and that sort of thing. But I would venture to say that in this space, mission-driven pool space, the same exists. And so you've rightly pointed that out.
Yeah. Fantastic. And so for you, Devin, key learning?
The key learning for me through your teaching, Harry, was that Christian has the largest medulla of all of us.
or is it the largest thinking part? Is he into thinking, which is your prefrontal cortex and all that business? Yeah. Is it about communicating and thinking?
So what is the medulla responsible for?
Yeah, the amygdala.
Amygdala.
Yeah, it's your bit that sits there. And you know the theory, but we won't do it now. We'll do it next time. We'll hold it. But it's a part of you that deals with emotions. Yeah. So you have a thinky brain, a feely brain, and a knowy brain. And as you guys know now, you have a head brain, a heart brain, and a stomach brain. And so your head brain is the thinky one, and then your heart brain is the feely one, and that's all your skin and everything as well. And then your knowy brain is your gut. But we'll do that another time because you'll find it maybe helpful. So, Brill, what have we got then? Who's next?
I just jump in here and say the one thing when people talk about visibility, I think, and several people pointed it out, it's clearly an issue. And it can be difficult if you are in a community that doesn't want to take spotlight away from other people. If you're decentralized, so it's a hard issue to deal with. But it reminded me as well that I think in order to, if this is the biggest problem now, actually, or it seems to be one of the biggest challenges people seem to clearly point out, is that we actually have overcome all the other issues, because I think before we all felt comfortable about going out for visibility, we actually have delivered a full spec ISPO, including everything from coin utility, and it's written down, and that has taken us a long time. And I think while we are maybe behind with visibility, but it was also held back a little bit by that we weren't clear about certain things before, and we made the decision, we came together, we made the decisions of what we wanted to do, and sometimes that was difficult, and it took us another month, and then we moved it forward. And now we are at the stage where I think we clearly can say visibility is a major issue, because everything else is sort of ready to go, and we just maybe have to focus on that. And I feel that was kind of an interesting thought from my when I thought about what people pointed out in terms of challenges.
Brilliant. Who else we got?
Yeah, I'll jump in. I sort of agree, or tied into what we'll have discussed so far. When I first joined, the group was a little bit smaller as well, not as structured. And as we went through the months and as we were working through the ISPO, we managed to pull together and create roles, and people took on roles and fulfilled those roles. We moved from a Telegram to a Discord and managed to get that up and running, and done fairly well with that. And you pulled all the resources within our community. Each and one of us has got some skill set, and we've tried to hone in on those skills and utilize where we can, each member bringing them to the forefront and making use of those skills. And I think we've done well putting that all together. And as Christian also said, we've got an ISPO that we've managed to launch, and it wasn't easy. A lot of hard work, certain tears has gone into it, doing Twitter Spaces as well. And even the tech side, we've managed to mint NFTs, we've managed to produce artwork and various other things as well. So which I think it's we've done that, which is a good thing. And it was great to see that progress over the months that has been. It's almost a year. For me, it's pretty much a year now. March has been a full year as well. So that's nice. And I think what we sort of are asking ourselves in a way is like, what are we doing necessarily might be doing wrong, that we're not successful? Because we've got the right idea, we've got the right passions, we've got the right visions. So we know what we want to achieve, and we're pretty much aligned in those core values, which is really good. And we want to make an impact in the world, in the ecosystem. So that's a good thing. But we're trying to ask the question is, what are we doing wrong, and how can we do it more efficient and in a better way and have better results? I think that's what we all here to find out in a way.
Fabulous. So we'll have a discussion about wrong and right next time, because that's a duality and that's a judgment, as opposed to what's worked, what hasn't worked. Yeah, but that's cool for next time. So who else have we got? Have we got Vito? And have we got Carolina?
Yes. So I also agree what has been mentioned so far. In my personal, because Carolina is unfortunately not able to participate, but I choose Gaia and also teaching and learning, because I think I actually went for the kudos at the very beginning, but then I discovered that I rather become a teacher with this project, because eventually teachers earn reputation automatically. I think it's something that comes like afterwards. But yeah, it's I think that's one of the best things it has been happening in the project so far, is so much learning. And also once we go through these challenges, there is so much to teach. So I think it's one of the things I enjoy so much.
Mm. Thank you. And Carolina, can you hear us still?
Yes, yes. From my side, I couldn't vote or put any post-its, but for me, it's mostly learning, because of course, first place will be the planet, but second place for me will be learning, because it's what I like to do in this space and within the community and with the Twitter and everything. And I think what we saw here today is that we have a main goal, and we know now what everyone thinks is the problem we are facing as a group. And I'm pretty excited about this workshop. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna be able to participate in all of them, but I think it's great what we are achieving all together, and facing all these obstacles and finding a way to overcome them.
Brilliant. And so, yeah, apologies, because we haven't really got it tooled up for people who couldn't do the Miro board, and we'll do better next time. In there, yeah, and some of the feedback will be, so how can we help the guys, and Carolina, who you were brilliant because you came and participated, even though you couldn't do the Miro. What can we do to make that easier for people either watching it, or again, who can participate but not write on a board or whatever? What can we do to make that more inclusive? Yeah. And as I say, that is down to me this week. That's down to just running out of time. But we'll do a bigger participation next time for it. Are you around next time? And are you going to be on your phone, or will you be so you can do some manipulation with a Miro or not?
Well, I wasn't aware about the workshop, so I started the call with my phone.
Fabulous.
And that's why I couldn't participate. But I'm not sure if I will be able to join next time, because I have a few exams next week. So probably
you don't really need exams. The guys will tell you they're very overrated these days.
I would really I'm gonna try to join, but I was seeing every time you share the screen, and I was also asking Vito to send me screenshots.
Oh, brilliant.
So it was good for me. Like I could do it with I just seeing. And
yeah, we'll have it set up better for when you're back. Yeah, and good luck with the exams. But thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? I think we've done everybody, haven't we?
I'm not sure, did I?
Did we do you?
I don't know. I don't
So
remember. But
now
maybe
we'll do it again then. But John, this is the issue now. When you do these key learnings, you're not allowed to say the same as anybody else. So if you go last, now you have to use your brain again and think of a different one, yeah, that Christian hasn't already covered.
we covered so much, so I even can't remember everything, and each of it was kind of similar, so it's already doubled 3 times. Let's say I'm very new. I'm I'm not an SPO. I'm more like a person without having an ISPO, but SPO. But what I really like is that to get it on this way, to see on this way that I'm actually joining the right group of people. So I'm not wrong here. For my free chosen parts, I may would change one thing. Actually, the whole, no, nearly, not everything. I would change the role because of my experiences. I needed a bit of time to think about it. My experience in Africa was, I can't do something for the environment if I don't have learned on the ground what is needed. And if I don't learn, I can't teach. And only after that, they can do it on their own. A small example, I was in a school. I was doing a media school. The kids are very happy. I had all my equipment with me and I was doing something for that NGO, but it was a border school. But they have only 3 or 4 hours a day electricity. So the bad part for the environment was, I didn't care about that. I have to pay for petrol to activate that generator, to have it every evening for 300 kids available. They're being happy. I could sit on the laptop with them and I could do editing. What I mean is actually, so I should change it before I have to learn on the ground how the situation is. Then I can teach and then they could make it better. So the numbers 1 and 2, I would change on the way. It's just one thing more.
We can do that next time because I'm conscious of time for you guys. There's a very important point in there. So please hold that one. Yeah. And it's that smear of probabilities and the impact curve into the future. The bit, I tell you, my acknowledgement was you guys have come together. Thank you again, Abe. It's been an absolute pleasure for everybody turning up. And yeah, I've, like Fletcher, my thing was actually in a lot of ways you're aligned. So sometimes then it's about how to run groups and meetings and be in a different space a bit. So that was the acknowledgement. And part of what was obvious to me was, as you were saying just now, a couple of times ago, with the ego thing. And again, there's nothing wrong with an ego, you know, it's good or bad, it just is. However, the point there was the kudo bit, because I quite liked it, but when we got involved in Catalyst, you know, you've got a kudos ranking, haven't you? You give kudos to people all the time. You guys don't seem particularly fussed about kudos. And my question would be, I don't know, how many of you are devs, as in software, hardware, technical devs? And do you feel that the spaceship you guys are on, our impact spaceship, and I don't like the word impact either, but you know what I'm saying, yeah, and mission driven, you can use that. Is that different to the normal dev spaceship? So what do I mean by spaceship is 98% of the population on that innovation curve, you know, 98% of the planet, they're very happy on the planet and they don't want to go anywhere else. Yeah, we're on a big spaceship, well, not that big, full of people who are weird because they don't want to be on the earth just doing on the planet with everyone else doing the same things everybody else. You guys are far from normal, as you know, and in that space then, is there the impact bit, is that different to the dev bit, is the question. If we question normal devs, kudos is important. Is part of that thing for you guys where personal kudos is not important? Is that different? And does that mean there's a different challenge to explain to the other people on the spaceship, let alone all those people back on the planet?
Can you explain what you mean by kudos anyway? Because I'm not,
yeah,
I don't care about
the point, but yeah,
I don't
what does
care
it
too
mean?
much about my own reputation, but obviously we do probably have to care about the reputation of the project.
I think kudos comes from the community bit, doesn't it? It's how you rate it. Because I used to, when I used to, for my sins, many years ago, be a marketing VP in a software firm. And that's how I get the guys to work really hard. I buy them all the top of the range laptops so they could play Call of Duty or whatever it was. It's a long time ago. So they could go and play Doom or whatever. And they would stay in the office all weekend long. And the only thing they really cared about wasn't money, but it was what their other developers thought of them. Their community. What did the community think of them? And for me, that's what the kudos is about. You know, what do your fellows think of you? What did the community think of you? So it is an interesting one, Christian. I don't know.
Actually, because you're pointing it out. I think I missed that sort of, because nobody has given any hoops about kudos in this voting here.
Yeah, this is what you guys said was, and this was the thing about the positioning, you know, going out and the ego and being a performer. That was the bit I think Devin was talking about. That's the thing. You guys are not that interested in having kudos.
I would venture a guess that people that are trying to change the world, doing mission-driven type activities, impact type activities, understand already they have their own motivation, and it's not compelled by getting kudos or getting fame or reputation or money or anything like that. And my hunch is that people like Vito, who are both developers and have this drive to do good in the world, to make change that is a very thankless job, are fairly rare. From the SBOs that I know, many of them are made up of two people, and the person, and this is true for me, I'm the one that wants to do good with the pool. And so I take 100% of the profits that I make from the pool and donate it. And my other half is the developer, and he pockets all the money that he makes.
Yeah. And that's the point. It's okay because you're moving forward together. So, but that was an observation, really.
Right.
Yeah? That was just an observation. And it was partly from what you were saying is, because there is an answer to this, and it's not bad, and there's definitely ways of getting out to the delegators, which we'll go through. What I'd say really to close off, what was I going to say to close off in that space? Oh yeah. So there was a marketing guy that I worked with once. I was in British Telecom, and then I worked in some big corporates, and there was a brilliant marketing guy once. And so, you know, marketing communications are the people who do, they're the ones who wear the posh suits and they have the spinny bow tie and they look immaculate and they go for lunches at very posh breakfast places and they have kippers. Yeah. And he explained it once to me. He said, Harry, it's simple. He said, this is what you do. If you want to do your marketing, you can do two things. You either position and then deliver, or you deliver and then position. So people in our country like Tony Blair and maybe Trump, I don't know, what they do is they set their stall out and they tell people what's going to happen and how brilliant it's going to be and how wonderful they are and all that stuff. And then when it doesn't occur, when they fail to deliver, then they blame someone else. And that's position, then maybe deliver. Then there's the other people who deliver and deliver and deliver and deliver, and they build a position. Yeah. Now that's the bit for you guys. You can take either approach. Again, it's no judgment, they're just different approaches. What I'd say for you guys is, at the moment, in the capitalist society we're in and in our media-driven world, everyone, and this is why we did the original F7 one, everyone says, oh, just do social media, just go out there and get better at social media. Yeah, why? So that you steal someone else's delegators. Yeah, that's the social media is to take a slice of the same pie. The build thing, to go out and build, you're building a foundation where over time, and this is where Fletcher's brilliant, over time you're converting, and this is what I heard from you as well, Chris, you're educating people as to why crypto is important for their future savings and decentralization and all that stuff. You're educating people as to why your SBO is important because of its mission-driven credentials. Now, that means that your market is huge. And it isn't about social media. It can be part of it, but you're building the mycelial network. You have all the connections. You know, like you were just saying, John, you've been to Africa, you know people on the ground in Africa. You come home, you know people on the ground. And that's the other way of building this network. It takes longer, but it reaches a tipping point and then it turns. The deal is, though, is how do we speed that up? Yeah. But this is always the thing. The guerrilla thing is, you know, the guerrilla marketing and that, don't act like the normal people. You haven't got 1 million people in your army yet. So don't act like it. Act like guerrillas. Go out there, specific things you do, make a huge difference. So that would be the, you know, the positive bit is, yeah, with all the tools you guys have got and all the people you know, it's not always about just building social media these days. It's about building an education platform, because that's how you drive the depth. That's how you get the real impact, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay.
Final words.
Really?
Makes
Yeah,
sense.
you guys are brilliant at it. So
And
Much better
just-
foundation, I think, in my opinion, is to create that depth in a steady foundation and grow that way, instead of promising everything and trying to deliver on that pressure you put yourself there in the first place anyway. I think it's the value and the worth you get out of it is so much more rewarding as well. I think this is what I think we're geared that way anyway in our own sense as well. We like to produce and deliver, see the impact we're achieving, and that recognition or the kudos should come. If it does come, that's great. You know, it comes by that produce that we deliver in the end.
yeah.
And even though we haven't given any points to kudos, I would say, while I may not, or personally, I would think, because internally, I think we provide a lot of kudos to each other in general. I mean, we haven't really pointed it out, but I do think it wouldn't work otherwise. And so we all give each other the credit for what we're doing. And we also know how difficult it can be if we don't do that, or if it's not kudos, but something else that will be raised and challenged in the community, because that could throw a spanner in the wheels quite a lot and delay everything. So it is important to have that coherence and working together and giving each other kudos, especially as long as you don't earn any money as well. But at least we all know, I think we all get something by being in this group, by even just knowing each other, and, you know, and creating friendships as we go, which is obviously something that you can't account for in any other way. So just having, you know, the experience and learning, as you said, then you can only teach if you have learned something in the first place. So we need to kind of go through that in the first place. And I think everyone here produces and adds a lot of extra information into the team. And so it's just fun to be here, to be there, even if it's a lot of work.
Can I just share on that point? When I first was joining this group, Christian from Biopool once said, "I trust you all like my brothers. I would share with you my private seed." And I thought that was such a perfect little snippet of, you know, how could you say it any better than that in the crypto world? Like, I would share my private seed with yours. How much I trust you all. And that was such a, I mean, if you know Christian, that's just such a touching thing, but amazing way to put it.
Yeah, fabulous. And that's the power of it, really. That's the bit you have together. People, that's been amazing. Thank you for that. We've gone over, which is very naughty because we're half an hour over. So next time we have to be half an hour faster. Yeah. And as I said, I'll put some project work if you want to look at some stuff. But the main question was this business about, so, okay, then, so what is a stake pool in terms of how it sits in the community? What is it? Yeah. And what's it there for? Because we're going to do that next time. But that's been amazing. Thank you for that. And yeah, all this is just a game, this bit, just a game. Nothing serious in there, but another way of looking at things.
Thanks, Harry.
Awesome.
No, thank you. I'm going to have a great
Thank you
week.
very much, Harry.
Great week.
Thanks. You too, Harry.
Thank you
Thanks
so
a lot.
much.